Anytime you guys are ready, the floor is yours.
Okay, wow, let's get right to it. Good afternoon, everyone. Geez, it seems silly to introduce myself, but that's what you're supposed to do. So, I'm Carrie Worden. I'm calling in from Fort Lauderdale, and I'd like to introduce you to a team of individuals who continually strive to elevate the level of service that our CRS team provides. First is Callie Dewey. Wave hi, Callie. Callie joins us from Orange, Connecticut, and she joined Geiger a couple of years ago when McQueenie Marketing affiliated with us. Callie's an office manager, CRS, and program manager. Next is Sherry Toll. Hi, Sherry. Sherry's a supervisor in our Tampa, Florida office, and she supports over $2.6 million in sales volume and oversees a staff of 5 people. And last but not least, we have Barbara Lunsford, who also wears multiple hats. She's an office manager, CRS program manager, and warehouse supervisor. So each member is in a leadership role with a big picture perspective on the CRS team. They've identified some issues with the service provided with our CRS team, and that main issue is really inconsistency. So we have designated what we will call messengers, we have the intermediates, and then we have the real problem solvers. So their goals for this project were to identify what makes a CRS a problem solver, and ultimately, how do we elevate all CRSs to this level of service? So I'm going to hand it over to Callie, and she'll share more details about the current condition.
Thanks, Terry. As Terry mentioned, we've identified missions with regard to the level of service that CRSs offer sales partners. Became apparent when moving support from sales partners to others that sales partners offer the same level of service support that they received from previous CRSs, and they were not receiving this level of support. This also includes others who are out of drop, resulting in incomplete and inconsistent information being transmitted to the sales partner. We all know what our job requirements are, but what makes one person go beyond the simple task of letting your sales partner know an item is on back order? An example is the CRS from a production partner regarding a back order. CRS acting as a messenger forwards the email to the sales partner with the message below. Then, of course, the reply from the sales partner asking what color is available, when will the stock be in, etc. This results in excessive emails back and forth, wasting time and money, and most importantly, a frustrated sales partner. CRS acting as a counter advises the sales partner on the back order and offers information to help the sales partner resolve the back order situation. The problem solver will advise the sales partner when funds are available, when the back order is in, and a recommended alternative to those cards because situations are not agreeable, along with that's added value to the sales partner. But many in our CRS have taken this steps. At this point, I'll turn it over to Sherry with our target.
Thank you, Callie. Okay, so based on this current condition of inconsistent service, our goal is to develop consistent levels of service among all CRSs. And this service is going to be offered to all levels of sales partners. So if support needs to be moved from one CRS to another, the sales partners will receive the same service as provided by the previous CRS. So we've developed standard operating procedures for CRSs to achieve these targets. It's all about anticipating the questions and about the speed at which they are answered. We've set standards for quotes, stock issues, research results, and so forth. We will provide each CRS with an SOP manual and an email signature template for communicating information to the sales partners. Also, a manual is to be posted on Gmail problem solvers, not messengers. This will save everyone time and money. The sales partners will have complete confidence with the entire CRS team. This will also provide well-balanced workloads for all of our CRSs. Simple, smooth, and solved. I will now turn this over to Barbara Lund for the conclusion.
Hi, everyone. Members of the CRS team come from different backgrounds, experiences, maturity levels, and personalities. And I think we've even found different regions of the country do things a little differently. We've got some who are very detailed and some not so much. Some are naturally good communicators and some not so much. So to help us identify how many members of the CRS team perform at problem solver level, we surveyed the team. Emailed a survey consisted of day-to-day scenarios, and we asked them to reply with how they would respond to the sales partner in this situation. We had 51 members of the team respond, and the survey revealed that 48% already act as problem solvers, while 25 are intermediate and 27 act in just a messenger role, which means all they do is receive an email from a supplier and just forward it to the sales partner with see below. Our goal is to have 100% of the team acting in a problem solver role and providing more consistent coverage. As part of our check, we did roll out a soft launch to a group of 10 members. The group was provided the SOP manual and the template that we created for a 3-week period, and were asked to use them. The feedback provided was very favorable and positive. We did make a few minor changes to the manual. Our goal is to have the manual and templates sent out to the field office managers, who will then introduce it to the CRS team. The manual will also be posted in GNet and added to the CRS training guidelines. Our goal is to audit it through the field office managers for compliance, and the goal is to do this on a continual basis so that we can continue to improve the process, look for better ways. So there's our conclusion. Anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
Go ahead, Rachel.
Hey, Barbara. The test group that you used, did you specifically target CRSs that you had identified to be messengers? Or was it random?
I cannot hear.
When you selected your test group, we're in the new conference, so we don't have a polycon, so we're playing it by ear here. When you selected your test groups, did you select people that were already in that problem solver group, or did you target people that were in that messenger group that you were trying to transition into the problem solver group?
We used a variety, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess based on that, was the feedback different from each of those groups?
Laura has asked, did you receive different feedback from the different groups based on where they were in the service level spectrum that you established?
Okay, I'll answer. Oh, okay. But the question posed was, did we get different feedback based on the groups that they were identified in by us as far as messengers, intermediates, and problem solvers? And the answer to that is yes. And actually the problem solvers came back and said, well, this is what I have been doing, but thanks for the template. It's a good reminder, and it helps with the consistency.
Question I have, is can they talk a little bit more about the audit function? How do they know that these people are going to be problem solvers? How do they evaluate that they attain?
Bob Blaisdell would like a little bit more information on what your audit process is going to look like. I know you mentioned it's going to be on the field office managers to make sure people comply with these new standards. Could you give us some more detail on what that audit process is going to look like? How are you going to be ensuring that these are being followed?
Anyone? Okay.
I couldn't understand the question.
Okay. I guess our auditing process.
Yes.
As mentioned, it'll be through the field office manager, so that will be, through the course of, questions coming to them, emails back and forth, and it's also going to probably be just a random check. Just, going through to look and see if it's being done correctly or if it's not, and then it will be addressed, by the manager or supervisor. That is the process we have now. There is talk about actually coming up with a team of auditors that will, just be auditing these practices we're putting into place, not just for this, but a lot of the other policies and procedures.
I'd like to go back and one step behind that and say, you've got different levels of capability today, and you've got some work procedures you're putting in place. How will you essentially explain, teach, show, train people to use the materials as opposed to sending stuff out and saying to people, use this? It's going to have to be more than just passing on documents. So how are you going to train people?
Anyone else? I think, this is our first step. We're giving them tools, which, before they may not necessarily have had these tools to use. As I mentioned earlier, you've got people who just do things differently, and there was never really a standard for how to communicate these particular scenarios with sales partners. So I think, the majority of them, once they have the tools, will use them. But yes, it will be up to us to make sure that they are using them correctly and effectively.
And we currently have mail checks in place for certain other situations that come up. So these are CRS are using email templates, so these will be additional templates that they will be required to use in certain situations.
Carrie,
If I may, Gene, this also rolls up into our third year of Knock Your Socks Off customer service improvement priority, and part of that improvement priority includes education and training. So any of our new standard procedures or attempt to elevate the level of service will be part of Tara and I do quarterly webinar trainings. So it won't just be, here's what you need to do it. It will be presented in more of a formalized manner.
Great. That's what I was trying to understand. Thank you.
Terry, I'm sorry. I guess Tara as well. I'm wondering, you rolling this out to service now as well, and because you keep talking about that stratification word, but I mean, it's already they're probably overwhelmed on, at least they used to be trying to keep up. Are you adding this to that group as well, or is the expectation different?
Are you adding to ServiceNow people as well?
This is Tara, and I think that would be a great idea to include them in this model. I'd love to hear a little bit more about each of the processes and see what it looks like, but I think that this is a very good standard of work for every CRS to have, and I don't see why it wouldn't fit in the ServiceNow model.
And again, I just wondered because of the, that different level of service for different sales partners, and does it become too much, right?
No, we don't. Don't get me started on stratification.
I almost didn't want to use the word, Carrie, just because I didn't want
Don't
to.
even go there.
I had to drink twice.
Yeah. And also, could you share that with me? I'm sure we can learn, our support team can learn as well, so please do share that with us.
I have a question as well. This is Laura, and I'm wondering if you've considered whether these survey questions that you asked could be used in your interview process, so that when you're assessing candidates for CRS positions, you would be able to get a sense of where they are in that problem-solving spectrum.
Laura, that is such an excellent point, and I, for one, struggle with, hiring, and I think for industry experienced people, these types of questions would be really valuable in an interview process, for sure.
Anyone else? All right, well, I think you guys did a great job.
Great job, no more questions. We thank you, we're impressed, we're delighted. We're smiling over here, Rob in particular, it looks like a Cheshire cat smiling over there. I don't know why. And thank you, that is all.
Thank you.